Sahano bhunaktu Saha viryam karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Samasta Jana Kalyane Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Satgurum Brahma Vidharam Antariyascha Bahirvidhutatimiram Jyotirmayam Shashvatam Sthanam Prapya Virajate Dinamatam Ajñānam Unmulayan Pashyan Vishwamapedam Ullasatiyo Vishvasya Pariparaha Tasmai Shri Ramanaya Lokagurave Shokasya Hantre Namaha. Okay, let's chant verse number 26. That is what we saw last time.
Page
71 for you. Yeah? Everybody there? Okay. Atma samstiti svatma darshanam Atma nidvayad Atma nishtata. Okay. So here, last week we saw Atma samstitihi. What is Atma samstitihi? Abidance in the self. Svatma darshana. That is the vision of the self. Atma nirdvayat, because the self is non-dual. Atmanishtata, therefore, that is firm abidance in the self. We saw that what is the vision of God? The vision of God is the vision of the self, of God as your own self. But what is the vision of ourselves? Vision of ourselves is not me realizing that I am some Atman, some existence, consciousness, bliss, and it's an object in front of me. It is not me having the realization of the self as an object, but rather me understanding that the self is the very subject. And we saw that abidance doesn't mean that my mind has to abide in Atman, that I have to realize I am Atman, I am Atman, I am Atman. No, abidance means just be. We don't have any connection to our minds. Whether our mind is up or down, we don't have any connection to our minds because we are the witness of the mind. There is no connection. We are the witness of our very thoughts. So abidance in the self, just be as you are. Just remain as you are. Abidance in the self means don't abide in the not self. Don't take yourself to be the body, mind and intellect. Just be. So this was what we saw last time. There was one great Mahatma that shares this story when he was on a train journey once in Bharat, and he was in the lower berth, and it was daytime, bright daylight. So the lower berth, you have to share that with so many people. Huh? So when he found his seat, there was somebody there sitting and he spread his legs there. As he was sleeping, he spread his legs so that Mahatma had this much space to sit. Very little space. But what to do? He has to sit. So he politely asked that person who was spreading their legs, can you please move? He said, no. Why should I move? So the Mahatma sat in that little space and this person kicked him. Not only kicked him, but he sweared at him. And this Mahatma said, now what can I do? I have to sit. What do I do? So he just kept quiet. He didn't react. And when he got out of the train, he realized that he was quite disturbed by this. That why would somebody be so rude? If that's your seat, why wouldn't somebody give you that seat? Why would somebody kick you like that and swear at you on top of all of it? So he went to sit with another Mahatma. He said, we're on this path and we have learned that we are beyond the body. We've learned that we're not the body. We've learned we're not the mind. We're not even this ego. But why did I get so disturbed? What was my issue? He said, we have learned that, but where are you sitting? He gives this example. Let us say there's a garbage dump somewhere. There's a huge garbage dump. Now somebody goes to that garbage dump to sit. Just like that, somebody goes to that garbage dump to sit. And if, let's say, a truck came and put more garbage in the garbage dump, whose fault is it? Is it the person who's sitting there or is it the truck driver? Whose fault is it? Person sitting there, right? You chose to sit in garbage. Now what can I do? I have to put the garbage in the garbage dump. You chose to sit in garbage, therefore you get the garbage. So that Mahatma said, where are you sitting? If we are sitting in the body, well then we will be affected by all the insults to this body, all the comments to this body. We'll be so affected by it. But if we are sitting and resting at the self, as the self, then do you think we will get affected? If we are sitting in the body, so identified with the body, somebody tells us, hey, you gained weight, or you're growing old, or you look tired today. How much affected would we be, right? We would be so affected. But if we are remaining as the self, and somebody said, oh, you gained weight. Okay, it happens to the body. Oh, you look old. It happens. How we age. Oh, you look tired today. Happens. We get exhausted. The response is so balanced. Why? Because I know I'm beyond this body. But the minute I step back into the body, then there's no response. There's a reaction. You look tired. You look tired. You're growing old. I'm growing old, but you're also growing old. Okay? Everybody in this world is growing old. Big outrage. You look fat. Yeah, I'm going through so much. Now leave me alone. I'm going to go fat. I am going to eat. Okay? This is the way I am. You see the difference? So Atma Samstitihi means just rest as yourself. Why unnecessarily take the burden of the body? Unnecessarily take the burden of the mind, of the ego. Why take it up? It's not you. You alone are Atma Samstitihi. Everything is appearing in you. That's called Atmanishta. Atmanishta. Okay? Now today we will move on to verse 27. I'll read and then you can repeat after me. Jnana varjita jnanahina chitta jnanamasti kim nyatumantaram. Together. Jnana varjita jnanahina chit jnanamasti kim nyatumantaram. Okay, here what this means is jnanam here means consciousness. Okay, jnana means consciousness. Jnana varjita. This first jnana varjita means that it is devoid of knowledge. Devoid of knowledge. So the first jnana means knowledge. Varjita, devoid of knowledge. Ajñāna hīna chit, that which is devoid of ignorance. Devoid of knowledge, devoid of ignorance. Jnānamasti kim, is that knowledge. Jñātum antaram, is there any other knowledge? Is there any other knowledge than the self? Okay, I'll read the translation and then we will go through it in detail. Consciousness is devoid of the thought of knowledge and the thought of ignorance. Is there a knowledge other than consciousness to know the self? So, jnana varjita, devoid of knowledge. Ajñānahīna, devoid of ignorance. Chit, that consciousness is devoid of knowledge, it's devoid of ignorance. Jnānam kim? Jñātumantaram, is there anything other to be known than this consciousness? Now see here, we have two things, knowledge and ignorance. So, how do we get this abidance in the self? How do we abide in the self? What is the process? Yes, the process is through knowledge of the self, but knowledge in a very deep way. Any knowledge that we have can become ignorance, isn't it? Any knowledge. Now we know Upadesha Sara. 3 weeks later, what's going to happen? We won't even know Sara, right? I studied this book. Did we study this last time? I don't know what we did last time when we were in Bal Vihar. So something we know, knowledge can become ignorance. At the same time, ignorance can become knowledge. Something that we didn't know, now we know. We moved to a new place. We didn't know all about it. Now we're learning, right? We meet somebody new. We didn't know who they were, but now we know. So ignorance can become knowledge. Knowledge can become ignorance. But the self is beyond these two. The self illumines knowledge and the self illumines ignorance. Now see here, this is actually what happens. Imagine a sun. Oh, you can all picture a sun. And the sun, let's say, all of a sudden got covered by clouds. Yeah? And then all of a sudden, the clouds were blown away by the wind. Yeah? So clouds were covered, and then all of a sudden, the clouds uncovered the sun. Sun was always there? Yes? And in the light of the sun, you can see the clouds. In the light of the sun, you can see the clouds covering. The light of the sun, you can see the clouds uncovering. The clouds covering is called ignorance. The clouds uncovering is called knowledge. So what does knowledge do? All knowledge does is it uncovers. Now ignorance is covering, knowledge uncovers, and the self shines on its own right. So the self is not the thought of knowledge. When we learn this wisdom that I am Brahman, I am that which is beyond the body, mind, intellect, I am beyond the ego, I am existence, consciousness, bliss, that thought is not Brahman. That thought is just there to remove ignorance. Because you are always Brahman. You are always Brahman. You are always that reality. Atman, Brahman, one and the same. You are always that. But just that understanding that I am that, that is what knowledge brings us. That is what knowledge brings us. So therefore, the truth is beyond ignorance, beyond knowledge, but knowledge is required to know that we are beyond ignorance and knowledge. One more example I'll give you. Let us say somebody was wearing a japa mala. Somebody was wearing a japa mala. Now, for some reason, they were wearing it, but they thought they didn't have it. So maybe they were wearing a scarf and everything, so they didn't know it was covered, and they felt that they lost it. They felt that they lost the mala. And this mala had been very, very dear to them. It was passed on from generations to generations. But because it was maybe winter time and they had a scarf and everything, they felt that they lost the mala. Now, when they had the mala, they were very happy that I have such a precious mala. They felt very protected. They felt very secure, very wonderful. And when they felt they lost the mala, they were very nervous. They were feeling so sad, they were feeling so down, so nervous, they were feeling a huge loss. And then one of their friends said, what happened? And they said, I lost my mala. And the friend said, are you sure you lost it? Check. And so the person took out their scarf and they found, my mala is right here. What do you think they felt when they found the mala? Happy, right? Did the mala disappear at any time? It was always there, isn't it? Right? It was always there. But what just happened? It was the recognition that it is there. The same way, the self is always there. We think that we are not the self. We think that we are other than the self. And that's why we are plagued by ignorance. Like the example I gave you of that Mahatma, right? Who said if you're sitting in the dumpster, in a garbage dump, what do you expect? All dirt will come on you. So because we have forgotten, we don't know who we are, we feel like we lost ourselves. And then when we gain knowledge, we feel like we found ourselves. But guess what? We're always there. We're always there. Therefore, consciousness is beyond ignorance, beyond knowledge. Consciousness illumines both ignorance, illumines knowledge. However, that knowledge is required. The thought of knowledge is required to remove the thought of ignorance, to understand that we are both beyond knowledge and ignorance. This is the deepest understanding. This is clear? Yeah? So that consciousness, devoid of knowledge, devoid of ignorance. Now someone might ask, why are you putting me on this path? What is the benefit of learning all of this? Why should I sit here, study Vedanta, come to class? Why should I learn all of this? What's the point? So Bhagavan Ramana Maharshiji says, I will tell you. Now we're in verse number 28. Kim swarupame tyatma darshane avyaya bhava purna chit sukham. Together. Kim swarupame tyatma darshane avyaya bhava purna chit sukham. So he says, Kim swarupam iti. What is my nature? Why am I doing all of this? What's the point of it? He says, Atma darshane. On self-realization, when I inquire what is my nature, I find something beautiful out. What do I find out? My nature is avyaya, undecaying. My nature is abhava, unborn. My nature is apurna, all complete. Chit sukham, consciousness and bliss. What is my nature? Thus inquiring, one realizes the self and knows I am the undecaying, unborn, all complete consciousness, bliss. So why should we realize? Because when we realize, we understand that we are the seat of bliss, seat of fulfillment, and we stop trying to complete ourselves through the world. Now see here, what happens when we try to look for joy, for completion, for fulfillment in the world of objects and people and experiences? What happens? What happens is everything in the world has 5 defects. We will get these 5 defects for sure. What are the 5 defects? The first defect is called AT, association with temporariness. With temporariness. So what happened? Now I was watching my favorite show, and it was there, it was streaming. And just as it's getting very exciting, boom, the show ends. It's temporary. I found such a good friend to be with, to talk to chat with. All of a sudden, what happens? My friend has to move. It's difficult. It's hard. I got such a nice position in my job. I feel happy, I feel secure, feel fulfilled. Then my boss tells me, now I want you to move to another department. So everything that we experience in the world will be temporary. It will be temporary for sure. No matter how much we try to keep it permanent, it will be temporary. And the second defect is AP, association with pain. When it ends, we feel pain. You feel pain. My favorite show ended. I feel pain. My best friend moved. I feel pain. I have to leave my current position, go to a new role, a new department. I feel pain. So inevitably, we will feel some kind of pain interacting in the world of objects. My child has been with me for so long. All of a sudden, my child has to go to college. Difficult. We feel pain. So how many defects I told you? 2. What's the first one? AT, temporariness, and second, pain. What is the third defect? Third defect is it creates dependence. When I'm engaging in the world of objects and relationships and experiences, I become dependent on it for me to be happy. So, if I've always enjoyed this certain coffee, then I feel that only if I drink this coffee, I'm awake. If I don't drink this coffee, don't talk to me. Correct? If there is Wi-Fi, then I'm very happy. If I go to a place and there's no Wi-Fi, what kind of place are you? How can you have no Wi-Fi? If my favorites, my TV, everything is working properly, I'm very happy. I can sit down, I can watch my show. If it's not working, it's the end of the world for the whole house. Correct? We become so dependent that if this is happening, I will be happy. If it is not happening, I'm not going to be happy. I'm going to be miserable. And my whole house knows it. And therefore, this is what we do with the child also. Okay, the child's crying. Okay, put something in the mouth. Stop. Right? We're making the child dependent on things. The child is too noisy. Here, take iPad. Here, take iPad. Take iPad. Instead of teaching the child how to be okay without it, we're creating a dependence. What is the next defect? The next defect is things in the world, they drain our energy. They drain anything good or bad, it drains our energy. You go out, that's why we need breaks, right? You go to work, when you come back, exhausted. Exhausted, you're tired, you don't want to do anything. And then the kids will come, I'm hungry. Okay. Okay, get back up. Somehow you muster the courage to get back up and do what you have to do. But it's tiring. So we go out, we have a nice time with friends. Even that is draining. We go to a family reunion. Even that is draining. We know that they're going to say the same thing again. This uncle will talk about this. This auntie will talk about this. They will talk about the same thing again. We feel drained. No matter how beautiful the experience is, it drains our energy. It's a fact. Right? What is the last defect? The last defect is DG, dissatisfaction guaranteed. Guaranteed. Meaning after all of that effort, after all of that enjoyment, everything we put through, still we're not fulfilled. Still we want something more. And then we go through this whole thing again and again and again. Every day, all we see is what? AT, AP, huh? CD, DE, DG. Every day, this is the story of our lives. Every day. So Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi Ji is saying, stop that. Stop it. And turn within. Turn within and realize who you are. Why? Because your nature is completely opposite from this. It is not temporary. It is permanent. It's permanent because it's your nature. It was never born. It was never produced. And nobody can take it away. You don't have to be afraid that somebody's going to take it away. You don't have to be afraid that it's going to end. It's your nature. It is with you. In fact, you can't even live without it. You can't be without it. So it is permanent. And it is not associated with pain. It's the seat of all joy. It is whole, it is complete, it is pure being, it is non-dual. Because it is non-dual, it's complete, it doesn't want anything else. Where does pain arise from? Pain arises from the feeling that I am incomplete. And therefore I have to get something to feel complete. And then I realize by getting that, I still did not feel complete. And therefore I'm in pain. This is called pain. But the self is of the nature of joy, of wholeness, of completeness. Well, for us, in the world, we become dependent on objects, or people, or things, or experiences. The self is independent. What is the self? Wow. What I told the kids, wow. With or without, you're fine. So this experience comes, your kids are happy, kids are fine, fine. Kids are not happy, fine. With or without. I have my favorite thing with me, fine. I don't have it with me, fine. Completely independent, with or without. Can we say that we're like that? That is the happiest person, somebody who's wow, truly wow. With or without, fine. In the world, it drains our energy. All experiences we go through, it's draining. But when we are ever rooted in the self, we have an explosive amount of energy. In one of the events in Swami Chinmayanandaji's life, Puja Gurudev, they wanted to just put him to a test to see what is his energy level, what is his body level. They wanted to put him through some tests. So they took his hair sample. They tested it. And they tested his energy level. Now they found something so contradictory. They said, if we were to judge your age by your hair, you would be dead. You would be dead. That's what your hair shows. But when we tested your energy and found out what happened to your energy, you have peak energy. How is it possible that your hair sample is like your body is dead, but you have so much energy? And he said, it's Narayana working through me. He says, I'm a useless fellow. I do nothing. It's Narayana working through me. So the ones who have realized the self, they have an explosive amount of energy. You realize that how can one person get so much done? It's because being rooted in the self, we find so much peace. Find so much peace that we're just able to flow. When we become like that, we're able to flow. In the world, the last defect we saw was DG, dissatisfaction, guaranteed. But when we are rooted in the self, it is of the nature of satisfaction. It is of the nature of fulfillment. So there's never dissatisfaction. There's never the need to be satisfied or dissatisfied. You alone are. Bhagavan Ramana Maharshiji says, pursue this knowledge. You will realize you are avyaya, undecaying, as what we saw. Abhava, that your bliss is not born, not produced. Effortlessly, that's who you are. Apurna, it is complete, it is whole. Chit Sukham. And that bliss is of the nature of consciousness, is of the nature of bliss, because it's beyond the mind, you see. Consciousness is beyond the mind. True bliss is beyond the mind. Any happiness that belongs to the realm of the mind will come and will go. But true happiness, true bliss is what lies beyond the mind. So consciousness beyond the mind, bliss beyond the mind, that is your nature. Does it mean that if I realize this, then I have to stop working? I have to stop my career, stop taking care of my family, stop doing all of this? So I'll allude to what we talked about last week, is that when we begin to realize who we are, we work from joy instead of for joy. See what happens when we start to work from joy. Just picture this scenario. We start with, I am complete, I am whole, I am pure, I am bliss. And whatever comes in front of us, we do it wholeheartedly. Why? Because it's not going to complete us. It's our dharma. It's our way to give back. We do it fully, completely. And we're not worried about what's going to happen. Is it going to be okay? What will people say? We're not worried about all of these things because we're coming from wholeness. And because we're coming from wholeness and we're focused on it, whatever task we have, 100% of our attention is there. Because 100% of our attention is there, we thoroughly enjoy it. Because we enjoy it so fully, so deeply, we get lost in it. Because we get lost in it, the work has to be beautiful. Because it's not work anymore, it's worship. It's beautiful beyond our imagination. And the result will be amazing. But those that work for joy, what is the mindset? I'm given this task, I need it, it's going to complete me. Therefore the mind is agitated. What will happen? Will it be okay? What will people say? Will I fail? Will I succeed? Because the mind is in so many circles, I'm not 100% focused on that. Half my focus is on worry. Because half my focus is on worry and half on the task, I'm not enjoying the task so much. Because I'm not enjoying the task so much, I'm not losing myself in it. Because I'm not losing myself in it, the result is not going to be that great. It's just going to be mediocre. Because there is an absolute interference of my ego. That's what we end up doing. And then again we go through it. But when we work from joy, it's a very different thing. So this whole knowledge is to tell us that you are what you seek. Start from there. You are complete. Start from there. And then do what you have to do. Pujya Gurudev says, realize your higher nature and let the lower nature play. Play with it and use it as an offering for the divinity, for the world. We are all already that. So use this life to play, purify the instruments as an offering to the entire humanity, because we feel so grateful that somebody has come to us and has given us this knowledge. And the least we can do is share it, live it, and be it. That's our nature. question might come. Why am I not able to do this? Why am I not able to turn within and realize who I am? Answer he gives in verse number 29. Bandha muktyatitam param sukham. Vindati jivastu daivikaha. Together. Bandha muktyati tam param sukham vindati jivastu daivikaha. It says here, Bandha mukti atitam. This sukham, this param sukham, this supreme joy is bandha mukti atita, beyond bondage and liberation. Who is able to realize it? Vindati. Vindati, somebody who is able to gain it. Iha, here. Jivaha, that jiva, that being is able to realize it. Which being? Daivikaha, that divine being. So here, in this world, some rare individual with divine qualities gains supreme happiness, which is beyond bondage and liberation. So, in Hinduism, in Vedanta, it's not that we have to die and go to heaven to experience supreme bliss. It is your nature here and now. So it says, Iha, here and now. You don't need to go to any place to experience it. You don't need to go to a higher realm. Here and now itself, you realize it. Here and now itself, our enlightened masters have realized it. We have living proof that this is a reality. We have living proof. We have living evidence that this is a reality. And this bliss, this supreme bliss, is beyond bondage and liberation, meaning, as we saw in the example of the mala, right? What is bondage? Forgetting that I have the mala on my neck. What is liberation? Remembering I have the mala on my neck. At no point in time was the mala away from me. Correct? All bondages was, I forgot that this was with me. Liberation, I remembered this was with me. Whole time it's been with us. So the self is beyond bondage, beyond liberation. It is not bound. And it will never be free because its nature is freedom. It will never become free. It's not that I have become a jiva. I have become this individual. I have become this ego. I have become this body, mind, intellect. And now I have to become Brahman. No, you are Brahman. You are it. But there's just the wrong notion that I am the body. That's all it is. That's all it is. So what is the role of teachers? What do they do? Did I tell you the story of the fly in the ear? Okay. So there was this person. For some reason he felt there's a fly in his ear. A fly buzzing in his ear. This story Gurudev used to tell us. That is fly buzzing in his ear. And he went to so many doctors. And he said, doctor, I have a fly buzzing in my ear. The doctor said, there's no such fly. He went to another doctor. Doctor, I have a fly buzzing in my ear. There's no such fly. Like this, he went to 5-6 doctors. All of them said, there's no fly. Then, his friend said, no, you come to Kerala. We have Ayurvedic center, a special center. You'll get cured there. And, people there are very smart. So he says, I have a fly buzzing in my ear. The doctor said, okay, we'll have to do surgery. What was the surgery? He puts the person to sleep. He takes a fly. He puts it in the ear. He takes out the fly. And then he wakes up the patient and he says, here, this is the fly that I took out from your ear. You feel better now? And he says, yes, 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 yes. Thank you so much for freeing me from the fly. Freeing me. Now what happened? Was a fly ever in his ear? No. So are we truly bound? No. We feel I'm Jiva, something's happening to me, I'm the body, I'm the mind, the intellect. Therefore, all of these scriptures will say, okay, let us do this step by step. Come here, study scriptures, sit under the Guru, develop these qualities, understand who you are, Tattvamasi, now you are free. But the freedom is, I am ever free. Understand? So this bondage is only a notion. Therefore, liberation is only a notion. The self is beyond bondage, beyond liberation. But who gets this? Here's the catch. The one who has these divine qualities called sadhana chatushtaya. Sadhana chatushtaya, this we studied way back in Tattva Bodha. We took up a text called Tattva Bodha, all about the basics of Vedanta. Here, fourfold qualifications are listed. These are also listed in your book. I'll go through them briefly so that we understand what they are. The first qualification is called viveka. Viveka means discernment. The ability to discern the real from the unreal. The ability to know that this body is different from me. Why? It's changing. It's an object of experience. It can get negated. But I am changeless. I am the subject. I am non-negatable. This mind is different from me. It's changing. I am changeless. It's an object. I'm the subject. This ego is different from me. Somebody who's able to see those differences very clearly has viveka, or discernment, the first quality. The second quality is what we call vairagya, meaning dispassion. Dispassion means an absence of desire. Absence of desire for worldly enjoyments here and even hereafter. Because the person begins to realize, I'm not the body, I'm not the mind, I'm not the intellect. Why am I spending so much time pampering and fattening it? Why am I spending excessive amount of time in it, obsessed about it? So the one who has vairagya or dispassion is able to let go of all of these things, grow out of all of these things. I don't need to over-obsess, give this over-attention, excessively pamper and fatten all of these things. I don't need to do all of that. Somebody who becomes dispassionate, somebody who has vairagya. And when someone has viveka and vairagya, it leads them to the sixfold wealth. I know I had said 4 qualities, and the third quality, it opens up to 6, like a zip file. That's the way it is. So 6. And the third quality, there's 6. The third is called Shat Sampatti, the sixfold wealth. It starts from Shama. Shama means control of mind. Dhamma, control of senses. Shraddha, faith in Guru, in scriptures, in Bhagavan. Titiksha, forbearance. Uparati, withdrawal from extrovertedness. And samadhanam, equanimity and self-absorption. So one who has this, and the most important one as well, which is the 4th one, mumukshutvam. Mumukshutvam means the burning desire to realize the self. One who has these 4, that person will get this. That person will understand this knowledge. That person will realize that they are truly free. One who has these 4 to a great extent they will be able to come to this realization. Question comes, oh, I don't have these four, so what do I do? Come back to verse 1, Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Ashtanga Yoga. These three yogas will help us get these four qualities. The three yogas, Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Ashtanga Yoga, they will help us get these four qualities. And once they are to a great measure, available in a great measure, that person is fully fit to understand Jnana Yoga. Does that mean that I shouldn't come to Jnana Yoga if I'm not prepared? You should come, because coming itself is also a way of preparation. But what will happen is, as we become purer and purer, the knowledge will become clearer and clearer. As we become purer, knowledge will become clearer. So the one who has great purity will have absolute clarity, will be able to realize that their nature is beyond bondage, beyond liberation. Yeah? Now we're coming to the final verse here, where Bhagavan, Ramana Maharshi Ji now tells us what is the highest austerity. If I want liberation here, now, what do I have to do? If I want to realize I'm ever liberated, what do I have to do? So I'll just read the first part because it gives a good summary, then we'll chant the verse. He says the first three verses of Upadesha Sara were on Karma Yoga. Thereafter, till verse 9, Bhakti Yoga was expounded. Verse 10 showed us the common goal of all yogas. From verse 11 to 16, Ashtanga Yoga was described. And finally, Jnana Yoga was elaborated and discussed from verse 17. To conclude his gracious teaching, Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi explains the nature of supreme austerity. Ahamapetakam nijavibhanakam mahadidam tapo ramanavagyam ahamapetakam nijavibhanakam mahadidam tapo ramanavagyam. So what does he say? Aham apetakam. That which is, aham means here the ego, the ahankara. Apetakam, that which is devoid of the ego. Nija vibhanakam, that is the revealer of the self. Mahat idam tapaha. This is the greatest tapas. Ramana Vagyam. And this is the utterance of Sri Ramana. The self-inquiry devoid of ego is a great penance, which is the revealer of the self. This is the self-realized truth uttered by sage Ramana. So, what does he say here? Let us just look at this word, tapas, austerity. Many of us have heard this. And many of us practice various austerities. Some of us fast. Some of us take up a sadhana. We wake up every morning and we take up a particular sadhana. Some of us chant. Some of us do a parayana. Like in certain occasions, we'll make sure to read certain sections of our scriptures. We all take up some tapasya or the other. But what is the highest tapas? The highest tapas is self-inquiry. Finding out who you are. Why is this the highest? It's the highest because it's the subtlest. See? Fasting is very good. Very good. And it is a level of the body and mind. We need intense willpower for it. Japa is very good because it requires a lot of concentration. Chanting is also very, very good. It requires intense concentration. Going on a pilgrimage, going on a yatra, that's also very good, because that it requires intense strength. But as we get subtler, it becomes difficult. It becomes more difficult to do japa than to go on a yatra, right? Because it takes more mind work. At the same time, to sit quietly and inquire into the nature of the self, that is the subtlest. That's the subtlest. Because we're not even inquiring or trying to think a particular thought, we're trying to inquire into the nature of thought. So that is subtler. That's why it's great. Why else is it great? It's great because all other forms of austerity, what do? They boost the ego. People will say, yes, I follow this fast all the time. I do this vow all the time. I say these prayers all the time. I do a lot of tapasya. Sometimes their ego gets a boost because they perform lots of austerities and they feel great because they're the performer of austerities. But this self-inquiry doesn't boost the ego, it breaks the ego. It breaks the ego completely. That's why it's a great austerity. And while all other austerities are preparation to know who we are, this is the direct means to know who we are. Therefore, this is the Mahat Tapaha. They also agree with it, right? This is the Mahat Tapaha. This is the greatest austerity. But who is fit for it? Daivika Jiva, the one who has divine qualities. So what should we do? Work on ourselves, purify ourselves, and as we walk, everything will become clearer. And who says this truth? How do I know this is true? Ramana Vagyam. Anjali, please ask them to just wait a few moments before they come down. How do we know this is true? Ramana Vagyam. This is our scriptures, but it's also a direct living experience of a realized sage named Bhagavan Maharshi. So these are not just words that we have studied. This is a living truth. A living truth. Okay, so with this we have completed Upadesha Sara. Let us read the first verse to signify that this should be a restudy, not the final study, a restudy. We'll read the first verse together. Karturagnyaya prapyate phalam karma kim param karma tajjanam. Okay, so we'll stop here. We invoke Bhagavan's grace, Puja Gurudev's blessings, the grace of Bhagavan Sri Ramana Maharshi Ji on all of us. May all of us walk this path and realize we truly are. Om